It was a cold winter's evening when I first laid eyes on Amanda's new home. A quaint cottage nestled at the edge of a dense, ominous forest. The trees seemed to lean inwards, their gnarled branches reaching out like bony fingers, as if they were trying to snatch away any light that dared penetrate their darkness. The air hung heavy with a sense of foreboding, and a shiver ran down my spine as I approached the house. Amanda was a close friend of mine, and when she invited me to stay with her for a few days, I eagerly accepted. She had recently inherited the cottage from a distant relative, a relative she had never met or heard of before. The news of her inheritance came as a shock, but the allure of a free house in a picturesque location was too tempting to resist. As I entered the cottage, a chill rushed over me, seemingly coming from deep within the walls themselves. The decor was a peculiar mix of outdated furnishings and peculiar trinkets. Amanda greeted me with a smile, but her eyes betrayed a hint of unease. She brushed it off as just the strange sensation of being in a new place. But I couldn't help but feel that something was amiss. That night, as I lay in my bed, the sound of creaking floorboards echoed through the cottage. Footsteps, slow and deliberate, as if someone were pacing back and forth outside my room. I dismissed it as the result of an old house settling, but the rhythmic nature of the sounds gnawed at the edges of my consciousness. The next morning, Amanda appeared visibly exhausted. She confessed to having heard the same footsteps outside her room, accompanied by faint whispers that she couldn't quite make out. We laughed it off as a shared illusion born from tired minds, but the unease in the pit of my stomach grew stronger. As the days went on, the strange occurrences escalated. Objects would inexplicably move from one place to another, and odd shadows would dance along the walls. Amanda's once bright eyes now held a glint of fear, and I could see the toll that these disturbances were taking on her. We decided to investigate the history of the cottage, hoping to shed some light on these unsettling events. What we uncovered sent a chill down our spines. The cottage had a dark past, one that had been buried beneath layers of time. Decades ago, a family had lived there, a husband, a wife, and their young daughter. The daughter, named Emily, had gone missing one fateful winter. Her parents searched high and low, but she was never found. Rumors swirled through the town that she had ventured into the forest and become lost, swallowed by the trees. As Amanda and I pieced together this tragic tale, the pieces of the puzzle seemed to fall into place. The footsteps, the whispers, the inexplicable sensations. It was as if the spirit of Emily still lingered within the walls of the cottage, trapped between the realms of the living and the dead. One night, as the wind howled through the trees outside, Amanda and I decided to conduct a séance in an attempt to communicate with Emily's spirit. We dimmed the lights, lit a few candles, and placed our hands on an old Ouija board we had found in the attic. At first, nothing happened. But then, slowly, the planchette began to move. "My home," the board spelled out. Amanda's eyes filled with tears as she whispered, "Emily, is that you?" The planchette continued to move, spelling out words that sent shivers down our spines. Emily's voice seemed to echo in our minds as she recounted the story of her disappearance. She had indeed ventured into the forest, lured by a mysterious figure that promised her adventure and wonder. But the forest had trapped her, its malevolent presence consuming her innocent spirit. Tears streamed down Amanda's face as she asked, "Emily, how can we help you?" The planchette spelled out a series of letters that formed a name, Samuel. We realized that Samuel must have been the enigmatic figure who had led Emily astray. With a newfound determination, we delved deeper into the history of the cottage, discovering that Samuel had been a recluse who lived in the forest, a man with dark intentions who had manipulated Emily into her untimely end. Armed with this knowledge, Amanda and I sought a way to free Emily's spirit from the clutches of the forest. We found an old journal hidden beneath the floorboards, filled with cryptic rituals and incantations. We followed the instructions meticulously, hoping that they would allow us to break the curse that had bound Emily for so long. One stormy night, as lightning flashed across the sky and the wind howled like a tortured soul, we performed the ritual. The air crackled with energy as we chanted the incantations, the room growing colder with every passing moment. Suddenly, the candles flickered and dimmed, and a shadowy figure materialized before us. It was Emily, her ethereal form swaying like a fragile specter. Her eyes held a mixture of sadness and gratitude as she whispered, "Thank you." With those words, a profound sense of peace settled over the room, and Emily's spirit dissipated into the air, carried away by a gust of wind that seemed to come from nowhere. The haunting ceased. The footsteps, the whispers, the eerie sensations all vanished as if they had never existed. The cottage, once suffused with a sense of dread, now felt warm and welcoming. As Amanda and I stood there, we knew that we had helped set Emily's spirit free and put to rest the lingering horrors of the past. But as I look back on that bone-chilling experience, I can't help but shiver. The memory of those ghostly footsteps, the whispers in the darkness, and the overwhelming sense of malevolence still lingers. A reminder that the line between the living and the dead is thinner than we dare to imagine, and that the past can cast a long and haunting shadow over the present.